but I'm just doing a sound check real quick. You guys want to chit chat?
Okay, yeah, you know what, we can chit chat. Shall we start with prayer first before we?
That sounds good.
So, Heavenly Father, we gather here today to hear the wonderful words and the experiences that Bella has had over her time as an American Heritage Girls, and we hope that her experiences flow easily for her this evening as she shares with us some really great wisdom as we leaders continue to lead the little ones back at CC Globe. So would you give her some strength and just patience to enjoy the process as it is, and we will do our best to, of course, support her throughout this process. And we ask for you to take us home safely as we all travel back to our families, and have a really blessed Sunday. Let me say these things in your name. Thank you so much. Amen.
Amen. I have to take that one out.
Oh,
okay, because
be a family member.
Yeah. And that you do that at job interviews, and you know, whenever you put reference, you can't have anybody related. So just take that one out because
okay,
you already
why
have
does it say family reference on like the little like there's
does it
option
know?
for that?
Oh, maybe you have one then.
Maybe.
Because
Leave it then.
Well, I'll
we'll
show
check
you.
the stars. We'll check the other packet.
I only did it because I kind of wanted to fill in all the bubbles, and for here it says family member reference, so I put it in there. But I just wanted to fill it in.
Yeah,
Maybe
so on ours
three.
it says at least 3 from non-family members. So
Okay.
she's just got
and then
bonus.
so that's the extra. Okay, so we'll leave that. Very good.
I can
I think
take that
it's
if you want.
important to have here.
I mean, it
Maybe
was
just
good
put
letter.
it behind the 3
Yes.
Maybe the last one.
Put those.
Yeah.
Put those 3 in alphabetical order, and then put.
Okay.
Put
Maybe,
that last
yeah.
one in.
Yeah.
Because every day I was just like, oh, there's like an empty spot, so I kind of wanted to fill it out.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good to fill up
I
the
think
space.
it's good.
Okay, so that's good. So 3 non-family, 1 thing. Okay.
Your essay was amazing.
Yeah.
It made me want to cry and how amazing you feel about things.
Awesome.
All right. Maybe Dad can turn it on. Is it on?
I think it already.
I don't know.
I feel
We're
like
recording.
I'm gonna ask you. just in
Okay.
case. Dad?
Very good. No, I'll fill that out. Because I don't think it's, is it signature or is it just fill it out?
Just fill it out.
Okay.
It started.
Oh, it is? Oh, good. Okay. Well, welcome, Bella. To the
Hi.
Board of Review.
Thanks for having us.
For having us. All right, so we'll have several questions from different areas of AHG. Most of you'll be very familiar with a lot of the questions. So we'll get started. All right. If you can please recite the oath, the creed, and the AHG mission, please.
Okay.
And you can stand.
Okay.
We'll do this.
Alright, so I promise to love God, cherish my family, honor my country, and serve my community. Alright. As an American Heritage Girl, I promise to be compassionate, helpful, honest, loyal, perseverant, pure, resourceful, respectful, responsible, and reverent. And the mission statement is building women of integrity through service to God, family, community, and country.
Thank you. Have a seat.
Okay. In the oath it mentions service. Has service been an important part of your AHG experience?
Yes, I would say it completely has. A lot of times there's, of course, badges you have to earn, like service stars and things like that. And I think it's really a quality that AHG wants to promote a lot of time. They want girls to go out and like sort of represent AHG and wear like your AHG like Class B uniform when you're walking in the parade and doing things like that. So yeah, I'd say that it's a big part of the AHG sort of walk.
What does it mean to be a woman of integrity?
I think being a woman of integrity is just sort of knowing who you are and knowing sort of the right things to do and sort of making good choices, because a lot of times in life it's kind of easy to do, sort of follow the crowd and do what everyone else is doing, but if you have integrity and you sort of know who you are and know that you stand sort of strong in your beliefs and things like that, I'd say then you have a lot of integrity, so you know what's right and what's wrong.
Would you consider becoming an AHG leader in the future?
Yeah, I think that would be super cool. I know there's sort of an age requirement. You have to be like 21 or something to be a full leader, but I'd be willing to maybe help a different group, or even just maybe come in and talk to the girls about the Stars and the Stripes. There's maybe a badge I've worked on, but yeah, I'd be super interested in that. me personally, I don't have any younger sisters, and so a lot of times I feel in AHD it's sort of given me the ability to sort of have little sisters, so I definitely would miss it, so I'd want to come back and be able to participate more.
What kind of things do you think you would participate in if you had joined one?
I think that I think I would definitely try to help the girls earn their Stars and Stripes because, like, me personally, I know it's a really long process. There's a lot of things you need to fill out, things you need to keep track of. So I'd probably just maybe give them advice or maybe help them brainstorm because I like to help think of ideas. But if I was to pick a badge, I'd probably maybe help with photography if anyone wanted to learn how to do that because I really like taking pictures, so I could maybe show them or like take pictures or just something like that. So I'd probably work on that badge if anything.
Very good.
Is it me? Okay. How would you describe AHG to prospective employers and colleges?
Okay, well, a lot of times I say it's like Girl Scouts because I feel like a lot of people like that, but I would say that it's a faith-based version of it. Basically, like, maybe I tell them sort of how the meetings work. We get to AHG, we do the flag ceremony, then there's the shepherding, so we hear a Bible verse, we hear something like that, and then we go into our own little group. So I just say that it's sort of like, it gets a lot of young girls together, and we're sort of this big community, this big sort of family, but the main focus at the end of the day is God and sort of His message. So I just say that it's a really good sort of environment for young girls, and really the main focus of it is on God. So I think that's really important.
Yeah. Now I know you said you enjoyed the photography badge, but what was the most difficult badge for you?
I think one of the most difficult badges was this one badge we actually called Freedom's Heroes. We did it for our AHG as a group, and there's just so many like kind of requirements we had to do for it. And we had to like talk to a lot of people, and just like we had to talk to a lot of different people in the service, a lot of people in the Army, and it was a lot to take in, and it spanned over a couple meetings too. So I think that badge in itself, it wasn't like maybe that interesting to me, so I was like, oh man, like I'm glad I earned it, but yeah, it probably just wasn't that interesting to me. But yeah, so it was kind of difficult.
Did you enjoy camping, yes or no? And if yes, what camping experience have you had that you wish every girl would have?
Okay, I really did enjoy camping, especially this last camping trip. It was really fun. I liked the spot itself. Bella's is such a beautiful place to be. And I liked that it was sort of, we didn't have too many things planned. Like, it was really a lot on Saturday, but the other days were sort of relaxed. That was nice. I hope that, I think the funnest part of camping was probably, we broke up the way people would make food. So we had Danielle, and her mom, they did all of Friday's food for our unit, and me and my mom did Saturday, and Liz and her mom did Sunday. And so I think I really just enjoyed making food for everyone. And on Saturday morning, I woke up early and I mixed the pancake mix, and I just made pancakes for everyone, and I made them all cute. I like cut up strawberries and cut up blueberries and had whipped cream and stuff. So maybe it sounds silly, but I hope that like every girl sort of gets that experience to like make food for their group and just be able to experience just something like that, because it was really fun. I liked it.
So of the badges that you've earned, which one do you think will be of greatest value to you as an adult?
I think probably the fire safety and the fire starting one, just because I think it's important to know how to start a fire and know safety ways around that. And so if I'm ever maybe lost somewhere, hopefully that never happens, but I think it's really important that you know how to start a fire and you know what to do in the wilderness and things like that. So I'd say a lot of the outdoor skills badges, the badges that fall under those frontiers, I'd say those are probably some of the most beneficial ones. Because you never know when you're going to need those kind of skills.
That's true.
Thank you. Let's see. Is that me? Yes. Yeah. Oh, sorry. As an older girl, you teach and partner with younger girls. Did you enjoy this aspect of the program?
Yeah, I absolutely did. Like I said before, I have an older brother and I have a younger brother, but I don't have any sisters. And I've always wanted a sister. I have maybe even a younger sister to maybe like I could give her advice to do things like that. But because I've never had the opportunity to do things like that, I think AHG has given me the opportunity to. There's young girls that I can talk to, and there's even older girls that I can talk to. So I think it's been really helpful because it gives me the experience, but not actually to have like a little sister like at the house like with me 100% of the time. So that's really cool. And then like on Tuesdays I can like be really into it, but then it's like I said, not my whole life. So yeah, I really like working with younger girls.
Good.
Did you learn something about yourself while helping younger girls? If yes, what did you learn?
I think I learned how to be more patient and sort of just remember that a lot of times, just because I'm 17, you know, the younger girls are maybe 10 or 7, so sometimes things need to be explained differently to them, or like they need sort of instruction in a different way, or they might even need things repeated to them because they're younger. So I think that in itself, and just patience, because a lot of times when girls get together, they like kind of are like loud, or they like to like talk a lot, or like but maybe when they're not supposed to be talking, they like to talk a lot. So you have to be sort of in a sweet manner, tell them, you know, it's time to be quiet and things like that. So I think patience is a big sort of aspect, I think, that I needed to work on, and I think I did work on with the younger girls.
How did it test your patience over that camp weekend when you told the younger girls to do something and they didn't?
Oh yeah, so basically we had badge work planned on Saturday. We were working on the inspector badge, and so we had a lot of things planned, and we were like really excited to do that. And so our leader, Auntie Tracy, she said, okay, go get the younger girls. We're starting at 10, I think. And so we went to go get the younger girls, and they were all in someone's tent. And so we went and we're like, okay guys, like it's time to work on badge work and things like that. And they were like, we don't want to do it. And me and Danielle just looked at each other like, what do we do? Like, we're not their parents. Like, do we tell them to like come? Like, you have to, because they're like, I was not used to really bossing anyone around, especially if it's like maybe I could boss my sibling around, but other people's kids, I'm like not super comfortable doing that. So me and Danielle kind of just like walked back, and we're just like, we don't know what to do. Or not we don't know what to do, but we're just like, they're not coming, sort of thing. So we told one of the leaders, and they were like, you just have to go get them. So we went back and got them. But I think patience in that sense, just like dealing with younger girls, or just people in general who might not want to do what you have planned. So you have to sort of just like work around it and be patient with them. So, yeah.
Very good. Well, what types of service project did you enjoy the most during your years of AHG?
I've done a couple of service projects, but ones I've enjoyed specifically, I guess this was sort of an ongoing service project, but me and my mom participated in this thing called Meals on Wheels. And so every other Friday we go to we used to go to Queens Hospital in Eva Beach, but then it sort of like shut down. So now we go to a place in Waipahu, and we pick up meals. Usually we pick up either like 6 to 12 meals, and it's like a full-on like lunch and dessert and drink. And then we drive around Eva Beach and we drop off the meals to elderly, because either they can't go out and get it themselves, they can't drive, or they're homebound or things like that. So I think that's been one of my favorite service projects, because I've been doing it for so long. I started when I was 4, and it like continues on. And there's like some elderly who've been there like ever since the start, and they know me really well, and they're just like, hey Bella, and like it's good to talk story with them, because a lot of times my mom, when we first started, she was like, Bella, like, you know, you might be the only interaction they have all day or all week, so it's important that, you know, you have a smile on your face and that you're like excited to do that. And as the years went on, I was like pretty excited to do it. Like, I really like the people there. And now that I'm 17 and I can drive, my mom wants me to sort of to take my own route, so I can go do it on my own without her. And I've been looking forward to do that. And I think I'm gonna start during summer when I have like more time to do that. But yeah, that's been a really fun service.
Cool.
Did you have difficulty leading others in your service project?
I think of course there's always going to be some difficulty when there's a lot of people there. I'd say that probably the biggest issue is a lot of times when there's parents or people who are older than you, a lot of times like everyone kind of wants things their own way, they have their own opinion. So I think the hardest part was just sort of like pleasing everyone, but at the end of the day I just sort of had to tell the adults and just be like, okay, like I understand what you're saying, I get your suggestion, but in the end of the day we're going to do it how I want to do it. And I think it's kind of hard because I'm only 17 and they're like a lot older than me, and they know definitely a lot more. So that was probably the hardest part, but I think I was able to work around it and sort of make sure everyone was happy, but then at the end of the day make sure I was happy, because it's my project and like it has my name on it, so I want to make sure it's up to my standard and the way that I want to do it. But yeah, I think it worked out pretty well.
Good. Now, if you were to manage another project similar to your service project, what would you do to make the project better or easier for you?
Well, the main thing, because the main issue with my project is that I'm not super good at math, and so halfway through the project we realized that we were kind of running out of supplies that we needed, and so that was really the biggest issue. Like everything else went pretty smoothly, but because we didn't have supplies we had to sort of take a break and wait for the supplies to come. And the good thing is we noticed it early enough so there was time to go get it, but I would say that was definitely the biggest issue. So to make it easier next time I would definitely have other people check my math, because like me personally, if I know that that's not my strength, then I shouldn't just count on myself and I should have other people help me. So that would definitely be like the one thing to fix, or just be like, yeah, you know, I should ask other people to like help me and make sure my measurements and all these things are correct, because that's like a big deal to a project. So I'd probably fix that a little bit.
Who were your role models when you were young?
I think my biggest role model was my older brother, because a lot of times in our family he did a lot of things first because he was older. He went to in part of my church he like went through First Communion first and confirmation first and all these sort of big steps, and he went to public school when I was only homeschooled. So I think a lot of times I wanted to sort of be like him and sort of do like grown-up things like him, because he was only 2 years older than me, but he was still just doing like a lot of different things, and he was into like Pokemon and like Game Boys and things like that. So I think even though I wasn't really into them, I like sort of made myself into them because he was into it. So I think I just wanted to be like my older brother. He's also really smart. He gets really good grades. And so a lot of times I was like, man, like I want to be as smart as my brother and I want to do all these good things. He was also really good at soccer. He liked to play sweeper, which is like a really hard position. Basically, you have to help protect the goal along with the goalie. And so I joined soccer too because I was like, I just really want to be like him, because he makes my parents proud and he does all these cool things. So my brother was definitely a big role model for me.
So let's see, which of his characteristics have you incorporated into your own life?
I think I've incorporated a few. First off, my brother, he's really laid back. I think a lot of times he goes with the flow a lot of the times, and he's sort of like, my mom describes me and my siblings, like me and my little brother, sometimes we kind of argue, but my brother, he's sort of the glue, and he's good at sort of just like making everyone happy, and he's really good at pleasing everyone. And a lot of times, like I think sometimes like I like to call it troubler. I like to be like a troublemaker to my little brother, but my older brother just like reminds me, like at the end of the day, like a lot of times you just have to sort of like go with the flow and just sort of like be calm, and he's really good at being like that. So I think I really like when I was younger I was kind of crazy, but I looked to my older brother and I realized that he's really good in sort of kind of hectic situations. He's really good at keeping his cool. He's really good at sort of just like knowing what to do and like knowing the right decision. And so I've definitely grown up and been a lot less crazy because of him. So yeah, that's definitely a thing.
Thank you.
Some people are better leaders for large groups and some are better leaders in small groups. So which type of leader do you consider yourself to be?
I think I could be both. It just depends. I think a lot of times if I'm going to lead a big group, I'm going to want to have sort of a lot of pre-thought out steps and sort of pre-thought out directions, because I feel like with a lot of people sometimes it's hard to sort of watch over everyone because there's so many. So I think if I was to lead a big group and want to be good at it, I'd want to make sure I had a lot of advanced sort of time and thought just sort of put into it, like, oh, you know, what's going to go wrong, what's going to go right, what do they need to know, and like what do I need to tell them. And with smaller groups it's a lot easier because there's less sort of people to manage, but there's probably more work to do because it's a smaller group. So I'd want to make sure, like, I guess with smaller groups I think it would definitely be easier, but I think I could do both. Just I would probably want to, like, if it's bigger, do it this way, and if it was smaller, do it this way. But yeah.
Is there one that you prefer over another?
I would prefer small groups just because it's a little easier to manage. But yeah, sometimes you don't always get small groups to work with.
Yeah. Now, as you grow, decision making becomes a necessary skill in your life. When in your project was it easy for you to make a decision, for making decisions?
I think.
And when was it difficult as well?
Okay, so I suppose it was easy to make decisions when, basically what we had to do is we had to sort of dig out a big trench, and that was pretty easy because I had everything sort of spray painted out, and I was like, just directions, like, okay, go do this, and the decisions were like, I thought of it before, those were easy because I'd already knew what to do, but it got a little harder when sort of things went sort of not the way I planned them to be. When we realized that we had sort of dug a little bit too much dirt out, that was when I was sort of like, oh, what do I do? And like I talked to my dad, and he was like, and he sort of gave me advice too, and that's when he realized, he was like, oh, you know, we'll just put some more dirt in and we'll just sort of like sort of work around it. So I think decision making is easy when you have time to think about it and when like it goes with what you've been planning to do, but decision making gets hard when things like don't go the way you plan and you have to like on the spot think of a sort of a solution. But I think that it's important to be good at both. You know, if you're only good at one, then you're not really going to get very far. So I think you got to be good at both.
Do you feel AHG strengthened your spiritual life? If so, how? If not, why not?
I think it's definitely strengthened my spiritual life. I really enjoy Auntie Kim, her shepherding. I've known Auntie Kim for a really long time, since I was 7, and she's always been really an important person to me. But even her shepherding, I find that she's really good at connecting with the girls. Like, she's really good at bringing it down to their level, but then still having it at a high enough level that it interests the older girls. And so I think that's really important. So even just like going to her shepherding every Tuesday, I think that has definitely helped me strengthen my relationship with God, because she picks really good Bible verses, and she has really good sort of just like ways of explaining things. I remember one time she went over the different sort of plates of like armor and things like that, and she just sort of had like little coloring pages, and she had like a demonstration. She had her daughter Danielle sort of put like on these cardboard pieces, and so just like Auntie Kim, she really helps me she helps to remind me sort of my faith, and remind me like important aspects that maybe I myself didn't think about. And so I think that it's definitely helped me. AHG has helped me get closer to God because Auntie Kim's been there, and because like there's a shepherding aspect that's in AHG, and it's like sort of this requirement that they have you do, but at the end of the day, it's something that you enjoy, and it's no longer a requirement.
Did the award process help you to grow in your relationship with God?
Yeah, I think a lot of times it helped me pray a lot more, because this is a really hard process. There's a lot of things, like you just have to pray that they'll like it and that it'll go through, and a lot of times you're waiting for signatures, and you're like dealing with maybe people who are hard to deal with. So I was definitely like just asking God to like, please help me, because this is really, really difficult. So yeah, I think it's definitely helped me to talk with God a lot more, and just sort of help me have faith in Him, because I know that I could complete this project, but it's a lot easier when you have God on your side, and when you just put your trust in Him, and like, you know, if you put in your work, you know, He's going to put in His work and help you sort of finish it off and make it a good project.
Do you feel, just harkening back to your Rosary project, do you feel that in the times when things seem to be going wrong during that, do you feel that you were able to take the initiative and take it to God and leave it with Him to see you through, or how can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I definitely felt like, even during the times when things were kind of like going crazy, I felt very calm inside. Like, I wasn't really like freaking out during the project at all. I was just like, oh, you know, like it'll work out. And so yeah, I think I definitely felt God there. Like, I felt like He was watching over everyone. No one like got hurt. There was no really like major things that were wrong, and I really felt God's presence there, especially at the monastery. Like, it's a really big religious place, and so I felt God there definitely. I know that like He was watching over everyone. He was keeping people safe. He was making sure that the people got there in the first place, and there was enough food and there was enough water and all those things. So yeah, I definitely felt His presence there.
The AHG Creed states that you promise to be reverent. What does that mean to you?
Reverent. I think that it just like reverence to me is basically just sort of being like appropriate and being sort of like correct in your sort of actions and deeds. A lot of times like if you see the American flag and like you should put your hand on your heart for the Pledge of Allegiance, things like that, like you show sort of respect for things that deserve respect. So I think that's definitely an important trait. A lot of times if you aren't reverent, people don't really look to you like as that. You're not like not good of a person, but like it's important that you're reverent and that you can show respect to sort of when it's needed. So I think reverence is very important.
Have you ever had to stand up for your faith and defend your beliefs?
I don't think I have, because a lot of the times I'm surrounded by a lot of either Christian or Catholic people, and I'm surrounded by a lot of homeschoolers too, just because that's the sort of the circles my mom has sort of chosen to put me in, and that's sort of when you're homeschooled, you kind of just like you kind of get to pick who you associate yourself with. And so I'd say even I'm 17 now, I haven't really had moments where I had to sort of like battle for my faith, but I could see in the future going off to college and going off to places where you can't really pick your surroundings and where people are there who aren't the same faith as you, who maybe don't have any faith at all. I could see in the future that would be maybe sort of things that I need to work on or things that I might have to deal with, but right now, not really.
And then, do you think that maybe something that would come into play as you're starting to pick your own route with Meals on Wheels, that might be an opportunity for you?
Yeah, I think definitely just sort of to talk to the older folks and just say, you know, like, and maybe even just ask to pray for them if they need to sort of maybe if they're going through any hard times, or maybe if they're, a lot of times we go to the old folks and sometimes they have sort of health issues or things like that. So I feel like definitely, I could sort of extend a hand and just say I don't know what you believe in, but in my faith, I could pray for you and I could sort of help you or sort of intervene of some sort. So yeah, I could definitely see how I could use that in that sort of situation.
Great.
Do you have a spiritual role model?
Well,
at home or at church or around the community?
Well, one of my friends, her name's Rose. Her mom is she's a really good. She's really into her faith. She goes to daily mass, and she does all these wonderful things. And her name's Miss Teresa, and she's always been an important role model to me, because when I was younger, I was into my faith, but maybe not as much as I am now. But I would go over to my friend's house, and her mom would be gone. And it'd be really early in the morning. I'd be like, oh, where's your mom at? And Rose would tell me, oh, my mom's at daily mass, or oh, my mom's praying, or oh, my mom's at adoration, which is sort of where you pray for an hour straight. And she'd always be off someplace, and whenever we'd go to her house in the evening at 6, we'd pray the rosary every single day. And I was like, Rose, is this a normal thing? And she's like, oh yeah, we pray the rosary every single day. And I think her mom just sort of showed me what actually being in your faith is, and being really committed to it and really 100% into it. And so I think Miss Teresa has always been a role model for me, because sometimes she's hard to deal with, but you know one thing about Miss Teresa is that she's really into her faith, and if you were to associate one word with Miss Teresa, you'd be she's really religious. And so I think she's always been a role model for me to one day sort of be that type of person.
Now, why should this Board of Review approve your application for the Stars and Stripes Award?
Okay. I think that this board review should approve the application, because first off, everything's there. I made sure, and with signatures, I have everything approved. And at the end of the day, I worked really hard on this project. I first off did the project itself. It was really huge, 100 hours, and all this sort of all the work into it before was a lot. You had to call, you had to organize, email, all these different things. And so it's definitely a big task, and I think I've done a good job of sort of handling it, a good job of finishing it off, and I've done everything that's required, and I feel like I've answered the questions sufficiently. So I think at the end of the day that I should receive a yes to this Board of Review.
And if we were to honor you as a Stars and Stripes recipient, what responsibilities go along with that honor?
I think even just being an AHD girl in general, there's already the responsibility of sort of just being respectful and being a good person, a person of God. And so with the Stars and Stripes on top of it, I'd see that sort of definitely stepped up. The fact that you've received this huge honor, you've received this sort of this medal that's saying, oh yeah, you've done all these wonderful things. So I feel I'll feel very sort of, I need to be a really good role model to the younger AHD girls and just to everyone in general. Just the fact that this is a big thing, and so I need to sort of just be that light for the community, and just sort of be respectful and use the things I've learned from the project, from AHG in general, and just sort of continue those on. Don't just after this is done, just be okay, I'm done. Yes. Being respectful. No, that's not how it works. So I think I'm just gonna have to continue on and just continue to grow in all in the creed and the oath and all these different sort of rituals. And live it out.
Will others expect more from you now that you are a Stars and Stripes recipient?
Yeah, I think so. My mom will probably be well, Bella, you got your Stars and Stripes, so you got to show all these things. Yeah. But I think even I could see how the younger girls, they could sort of look to me as wow, she's got that badge, so she must have done a lot of work, she must have put a lot of effort to this. So I could see how there's definitely another level of sort of just way I need to act, and just way I need to sort of be where I need to be. So yeah, I think that the levels have definitely sort of increased as you get older in AHD.
Right. Being an example of having gone through this, you can also show them that it can be done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When did you decide to strive for the Stars and Stripes? Have you always known, or did you?
I think it's always been something I wanted to work for, because I feel if you're in any sort of group, there should be some sort of end all thing you do, some sort of big sort of last hurrah. And so previous to this, I was in, like when I was younger, I was in Girl Scouts, and I had my heart set on getting a gold. So I always like have goals in mind and sort of set those, because if you don't really have a goal, then there's not really a point in doing something. And so I don't think my first year in AHG, I really thought about that, but my first year in AHG, I didn't really know about Stars and Stripes, and everything was sort of new because it was like everything was really new for AHG. But by the time I became a patron, I think my last year being a pioneer, I decided that I wanted to do it. I was like, you know, this is a big project. This is sort of going to be the final last thing I do, so I'm gonna do it. And so I started working on it, I think the summer after my pioneer year, and I was really ready to do it. I planned to do the Rosary Project, and I was like, I had my old leader, Miss Melody, sign like all these paperwork and stuff, and I went to the monastery and I talked about it. But then, I don't know, I got really busy and I didn't end up doing it. Like, I took a year off basically from doing the project or even thinking about it. But then this past year, I realized that, you know, you can't just leave things unfinished. You can't just like start something and then not complete it. And especially like I didn't just start it like it was just a thought. Like I'd actually gotten signatures. I'd actually gone to the monastery. I talked to them. I talked to one of the sisters there and was like, I want to do this. And I was like, Bella, like you can't just like just leave this sort of like flying loose. So I realized like this year, like no, this is the time to do it. You need to step up. You need to sort of finish things you started, because that's really important. So definitely at the start of this year, I knew I wanted to do it. I was like, I had my heart set on finishing this year with the Stars and Stripes Award. So yeah, I knew I wanted to do it. It took a process, but at the end of the day, I was like, yes, I'm gonna get this award.
Very good, you're determined.
25 years from now, you run into a Stars and Stripes recipient. You are chatting about your experience. What is one experience you would share?
I think I would share first off I'd ask the person about their project, like what did you do, or like how did it go, but then I'd probably tell her about my project and just sort of, I think a lot of times projects, they require a lot of planning and things like that, so I'll probably just like tell her about how what kind of planning it went into sort of doing my project. I think I like to think ahead, and I like to think of sort of issues that might come up, and so like a few things that I thought of before the project even started was the fact that the monastery is kind of like not hard, like I guess it's hard to get to, but it's like it's hard to know how to get there. Basically, it's like there's like this high school, and then there's like this dirt road that's immediately after the high school, and so if you haven't been to the monastery before, you're really not going to know that it's there, and it's like basically like on this really long dirt road. So I thought ahead, and I made these really bright like neon green signs that said Bella's project this way and all these things. And then when you got to the project, I made sure to have sort of these little rulers to show people like how to dig, and like I had little like blueprints to show them like, okay, this is what it's gonna look like, and things like that. So I'd just probably tell her that, like, you know, with that, whenever you're planning things, it's important to think ahead and think of things that could possibly go wrong. And so I'd be like, oh, this is like what I thought of, and just tell her like, you know, my insight on that. But yeah.
Do you hope that sometime in the future you may become an AHG volunteer?
Yeah, I think that it's not even just a hope, it's something that I definitely see that's going to happen. I think AHG's been such a big part of my life that I couldn't imagine like, not really doing it anymore. I think even if I go to college, wherever I go to, probably in the mainland, there's AHG groups there. So I feel like it's not just a hope, but it's something that I know that I'm going to want to do. And yeah, volunteer, whether I probably won't be like a head leader or anything like that, but even just like coming in to talk to the girls, or just sort of even like being maybe an assistant, or just like coming in and visiting once in a while and just talking to the girls, I could definitely see that in my future.
I mean, you've seen enough of AHG where you could see where you could help out and the different things you can do.
Yeah.
Did you have experiences in AHG that you would not have had otherwise?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think a lot of times camping trips have been especially something that's been really like awesome for me. Especially a couple of years, I think like even 2 years ago and last year, our Pioneer Patriot group was really big. There was like, I think last year there was 11 of us, and so whenever we go on camping trips, even if it was just our unit, there was a lot of girls, and so we'd always get a really big tent, and we'd all just like sleep in it together, and we'd just like stay up really late, like singing and like just like doing like, I don't know, like girly stuff, like talking or about boys or things like that. And so that's always been something that's like special in my heart. And then even the badges that we'd work on and at the camping trips, they're just like things I'll remember. Like I'll remember sort of pitching up sort of this makeshift tent with one of my friends, or like having to tie knots with them, and like we'd have relay races where you'd like stand on this end and tie a knot, and then like run to the other side and tie a knot, and just all these like really fun projects that I've done. So I think camping especially is always gonna like, it's gonna bring back good memories, and just like sort of have good thoughts about, whenever I think about camping and all those good experiences.
And if a younger girl asked you about AHG, what would you say?
I'd say, if she's not in it already, I'd say you should really join. It's a really good program. There's definitely things to do. There's sort of, I feel like a sort of an area for everyone, whether you're sort of maybe into outdoors things, there's badges for that. If you're into maybe artistic things, there's photography and sort of like all these creative outlets. I'd say that there's definitely something out there for you. And I'd say that I think it's really good at building leadership, because a lot of times like people or kids don't have opportunities to be leaders because a lot of times parents are sort of taking that role. So I feel like if you really like, it's important that everyone has those experiences, especially because when you get older sometimes you have to have those experiences, so it's better if you have some experience before. And so I tell her definitely do it, because it's going to help you grow in maybe hopefully in your faith, but definitely in other ways too, being responsible, being a leader. And you get to work on badges that you enjoy, and you get to make friends. I think I made so many friends from AHG, and I've like kept these friendships too. A lot of my friends in AHG, they've moved away to like California or Virginia, but I still like talk to them and things like that. So I think friendship's another big thing to AHG.
Why does AHG encourage a servant's heart?
I think they encourage a servant's heart because that's really kind of what God wants us to do. He wants us to sort of be helpers to others and be helpers to everyone. And so that's an important virtue to have, to sort of be willing to be a servant to everyone and anyone. So I feel like they encourage it because they recognize that that's something that they want their sort of AHG girls to have, but also something that everyone should have. Like if you want to be a good person, you have to be willing to help people out and sort of not really like, don't just think about yourself, because if everyone sort of just thought about themselves, then you wouldn't really receive any help. So I think that they probably encourage that because they want their AHG girls to sort of have that way about them. So if you think about AHG, you think, wow, that girl is like, she's got a really nice heart, she's really caring, she's really generous. And so I think they probably want those two associated together.
Did you enjoy the AHG program?
Yeah.
And what was your favorite aspect of the program? What was the least favorite?
My favorite, I think there's just been so many memories of AHG that have been pretty awesome. I think a lot of times, I like the badges that we do for AHG. A lot of times our leaders would let us pick, they'd let us vote on what kind of badges we pick, and of course we'd have to work on the required ones, like the gold starred ones, but like a lot of times they let us pick, so we'd like vote on like cake decorating and just like really fun badges. So I really enjoyed the badge work and just sort of learning new things. A lot of times the AHG requirements, they're kind of intense, but at the end of the day, you realize that they just have them so you can learn things, and I think that's really important. So yeah, just the badge work has always been one of my favorite things. One of my least favorite things would, I don't know, that's hard. I really don't not like anything. I really enjoyed a lot of things about AHG, but if I had to pick something, I guess. One time for AHG, part of the camping badge, you have to like camp in the wilderness for like a night, and I just didn't really like that because that was something you had to do, and it was like a requirement, and you had to like go, like basically you had to go on a hike and like bring all your stuff with you and bring all your tent and bring all your food and then stay there overnight like all alone, and then you have to pack everything up and walk back. And I mean, I like camping, but not really that intensely, so if I had to pick one thing, it's probably just like I didn't really like doing that requirement. But other than that, AHG's been pretty good for me overall.
Good.
Okay, what two adults have influenced you most in your life, and in what way?
Well, I think probably two of the biggest influences in my life who've been adults are probably, of course, my mom, because she's always been there for me. She's always been someone I could count on, and I think that she makes me, she's like a good example. Like if I ever have kids, which I mean, I always think about having kids, but if I have kids, I will kind of want to be like her, because she's the kind of mom that like I can be like, oh mom, I need this help, or I can call her up and she'll like, well, sometimes she doesn't answer her phone because she's really bad at like keeping track of her phone, but she's like someone that I know that I could always call and count on. So the way that she's a mom to me, she's like a role model, because I'd want to be like a mom to my kids the way she's like similar to her. So I think she's a big role model to me, especially because we hang out a lot, because I'm homeschooled. We spend a lot of time together, so she's always been sort of someone I want to like follow along in the footsteps of. She also works out a lot, which I think like she's really like motivated to like be fit, and so she motivates me a lot of times to like go out and run or go out and swim, because she like, my mom's like, she's not old, but she's like almost 50, and so like I think like, oh, my mom can do that, so I can do it definitely, because I'm like a lot younger than her. So she's a big role model for me. I think another big role model would probably be my unit leader, Auntie Tracy. I've known Auntie Tracy for a really long time. She's been my kind of like my teacher, because we do a lot of co-ops for homeschooling. So she's been my teacher since I was like 7, and I took a lot of classes with her. We did mapping class and science class and writing classes like that, and she's always been a big role model for me, because first off, she has a lot of kids. She's got like 7 kids, and she manages them all pretty well. Like, she makes time for everyone, and she's really nice. I think a lot of times, so I think she's always been a good role model for me, because she's always been there, and she's always been sort of a good representation, like I said, kind of like a mom, like someone you want to be like. And I think another nice thing about Auntie Tracy is basically she makes it like everyone feel like they're part of like their family. Like, she's so generous and kind with a lot of things that a lot of times I just feel like I'm one for kids, and she's really like nice to everyone. So I think both those sort of moms are really good influences for me and role models for me.
So I think your dad said that would only run 15 minutes. Do you need to check?
Can you check on that?
Sure.
And see if it's still running, or if he needs to do something about it?
It says it's at 38 minutes right now. So we've got like, we've got 10 minutes left.
Good.
All right. Well, that's good. Now we can jump into the future.
Yeah.
What are your future plans?
Okay. Well, I definitely want to go to college. I think that college is a good step to go on. I think I'm looking at the University of Arizona, because a lot of my mom's family lives there, and my brother goes to school there, so my mom really wants me to go there. So, I mean, that's always a possibility, and she's like, I'll buy you a car if you go there, so it's like always a possibility. But other than that, I was thinking the University of Colorado, because I really enjoy going to Colorado, spending time there, and so I definitely go to college, probably one of those two, or even you maybe in Portland somewhere, because that's a really cool place to live. And when I get to college, I hope to study. I really like science. I took a marine biology class last year, and previous to that I took a biology class, and they really just sparked my interest. They were all the things I learned, they still sort of stick with me now, sort of the kingdoms and the ocean and all these different animals. It's crazy how sometimes like something you like it so much, you still like remember things that you don't even think you will remember. And so I really like marine biology class. And so at first I thought I wanted to be a marine biologist, and I was like, that'd be super cool. I get to like go out and sort of look at animals and do all these things. But I realized that marine biology kind of requires a lot of math, and you need to be really good at math. And it's not that I'm not good at math, but I think I'm just average. I don't think I'm at the level to be like a full-on marine biologist or a scientist, because a lot of like degrees like that require a lot of like science degrees require math. And so I realized, I talked to one of my employer, my lifeguard. I lifeguard, and so we were talking about it, and she was telling me how her daughter is studying environmental sustainability, and so basically her daughter sort of wants to help the like the animals and the ocean and things like that, and so she's studying ways to sort of be sustainable and sort of like educate other people and sort of ways to make life more sustainable. So I think that that's something I would want, that's like a major I'd want to study in college, because I think sustainability is cool, and I think it would still allow me to be outdoors and allow me to sort of work with animals and the ocean and plants and things like that, but it wouldn't require math, because I'm really not good at math. So yeah, I think I would study environmental sustainability.
Has AHG prepared you for the future?
Yeah, I think it definitely. Yeah, like I said, AHG and one of the key components to AHG is being a leader and sort of taking charge of things and sort of having groups and delegating to them and telling them what you want and telling them how to get there. So I think it's definitely helped with that, because like I said, a lot of times kids don't really get opportunities to be leaders, but AHG has definitely given me the ability to. And I think a lot of times too, like even the Stars and Stripes, that was like a really big project, a lot of people and a lot of sort of like, you know, you take weeks and weeks of planning to sort of get to this end goal. And I feel like probably like, you know, in work and things like that, if you have a really big project, or if you have like a lot of people, if you're the boss of a lot of people, then you're going to need to be a leader, you're going to need to be organized, you're going to need to be all these things. And so I think AHG has helped me, because it's given me opportunities to do that, like with Stars and Stripes and like even with badges. So I think it's definitely been helpful, because I get opportunities that maybe not every kid gets to have. So I think that's definitely been helpful.
Would you like to be involved with AHG in the future? And if yes, what would be your favorite position in AHG?
I would definitely like to be involved in AHG. I think that I would just want to probably help be a leader, because like I wouldn't want to be anything like a assistant shepherd or like anything that's like locked in just to one thing, because I feel like a leader you get to sort of just do like a bunch of different badges and just get to do a bunch of different stuff. So I think I would definitely want to be a leader. I think I'd want to be a leader for the older girls, probably the Pioneers or the Patriots, because I really enjoy being around girls who are like a little bit younger than me and just sort of giving them advice. And so I would definitely want to be if I could pick, I'd want to be a leader. I'd want to be a leader for the Pioneers and Patriots, and I just want to like make Badgerick really fun and make camping fun and make just these experiences something that they'd remember and something that they would enjoy, and just do things, basically like take all the things that I've learned and all the good memories that I got from it and make sure that the girls that I'm leading get sort of the same opportunities and get sort of these same memorable experiences that I got to have.
Good.
All right.
So this is the last one.
Got a final wrap-up question. I will give you some little cards here.
Okay.
And you'll rank these AHG experiences in order of their impact on your life. So you can spread them out and then just let us know, rank them from 1 to 8.
Okay.
And then we'll discuss.
Okay, that seems good.
That's your final answer? No?
Yes.
Okay.
So how do you order them? Is this from
That's-
1?
So that's the top. And
Okay.
so this is the best, like, good things that I can
Okay.
answer. Like,
All right, all right.
So your service project kind of falls toward the middle of the road. Can you kind of elaborate why you place it in the middle of the road?
I think well, I did sort of organize this just for the fact of like, I think I have a lot of memories doing badge activities and camping and friends, and for service projects I really just did the Stars and Stripes thing, and of course I have good memories with that, but I think I was just like, it's not as fun as all the other things, so yeah, probably just
Okay.
it wasn't as enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what makes the badge activities number 1?
I really enjoy badge activities because I've just I have, like I said, so many good memories. We've done so many really fun badges within our unit. I remember one time we did the cinematography badge, and so basically one day we all went to my one friend Caitlin's house, and we all dressed up like princesses, and we all had really long dresses, and we filmed a video. We had to film sort of this like long movie that had to be like 20 minutes long, and we had to film sort of this short, I think it was like a commercial, and so that like badge activities just they've just been all really enjoyable things, because like I said, a lot of times you get to pick what you get to do, and we do fun things like cake decorating, so you got to make cake and eat cake and do all these things, or cinematography where you get to just like dress as like a princess. I think that's number 1 because that's been the most fun, honestly, just like working on badges and like completing things as a group with your friends.
And so then why would you have put religious award and activities and high adventure at the bottom? Just curious.
I put religious awards near the bottom because I only worked on one my whole AHG career, and that was the required one for the level award for the Dolly Madison. So yeah, just like not that much experience with the religious awards, so it didn't really deserve to be at the top of that much. And high adventure activities, I mean, I'm adventurous, but really not that adventurous. I like to sort of like I always tell, I have a really close friend, and her name's Rose, and she really likes to climb trees. And the way our friendship works, I like to explain to people, is like she's sort of the one that's like in the tree, and I'm the one that's like telling her to get down and like be safe. So I'm kind of, I like to be adventurous, but not too much. So I'm pretty like, I don't like to do too crazy things. So it's probably my least favorite thing to do, do adventurous things.
Does the board have any other questions we'd like to ask Bella? Thank you very much. This is an honor to talk to you and get to know you more, and we will discuss further. We can turn that off, and then we'll call you back in. more?
left?
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
So my question for you is, now that you've been through it since you were so young, all the way through the different ranks and all the frontiers and service stars and, I mean, just incredible accomplishments. Is there anything that you could give advice to us as leaders, as the coordinator of our group, things that we might be able to do to make HG better and or make the experiences more rich for the ones behind you? And know that, you know, your constructive criticism is so very helpful. So anything that you can, you know, maybe something worked 2 years ago that you really appreciated. Maybe I also saw troop meetings are at the bottom of your little list there. So what are some ways that we might be able to, just your little wisdoms?
Well, I guess my best advice is, I've had a couple different, I guess I'll just think about my leaders themselves and what kind of leadership I really liked. So I've had a couple different leaders. When I started at HG, I had Mr. and Mrs. Cox, and they were really good leaders. And then after I had Miss Melody, and then now we have Auntie Tracy. And I feel like my favorite leaders between those like sort of different groups were my first leaders, Mr. and Mrs. Cox, because like Miss Melody, who's like our second group, she was really laid back, and she didn't really push us to do too many things. She was like, you know, just do what you want and do your best. And that's all good and well to like tell someone to do their best, but I think a lot of times sometimes kids need a little push, because if you just tell someone, like a kid to do their best, they're kind of just maybe gonna be lazy or just like gonna do what's easy and not like do what they should do. So I think like Miss Melody, she was a great leader, and I really loved her, but I feel like a lot of times like that year I didn't really accomplish that much just because she didn't really push me too hard. And then this year, Auntie Tracy, she pushes you really hard. Like she's really intense, and she's like, she wants us to work on like tons of badges and do all these things. And I think it's definitely what I needed. Like I needed that kind of leadership, especially for the Stars and Stripes. And so it was necessary, but sometimes it's not always that fun, because she's always just like, so like do this, do this, do this, and like it's not like as laid back as Miss Melody. So they were kind of two different, like two extremes. But then Mr. and Mrs. Cox, they were sort of the perfect in the middle. They were, first off, like it was like both of them together, they were sort of co-leaders, and they were really nice, and they were like both like laid back, but they had us do a lot of productive things. I remember that year we did so many things. We like worked on home care and repair, and we made like different like flag stands, and we painted them like pink camouflage. And I just remember the things that we did that year. I really have a lot of memories from like all the camping trips with them and all these different things. We worked on a horsemanship badge, and we like went and rode horses for a while, and we just did so many flag day and just all these different things. So I think they were my favorite leaders, because they were a good mix of like having goals and like pushing you to do things, but then still making sure you enjoyed it. Like, and I guess like even in comparison, I feel like this year like I've earned like the most badges ever my whole all the year, but I probably maybe haven't had as much fun just because it's been so intense. And then with Miss Melody, I think I only earned like a few badges, maybe like 3 or 4, but then with the Coxes it was like the good in the middle. Like I earned enough badges for me to feel like fulfilled, but then it wasn't too much that I didn't feel like I was only earning badges and not having any fun. So I'd say if I were to give you any suggestion, maybe work on sort of like having goals in mind, and like having the girls set goals, and like having things to look forward to, because you need a goal in life, but making sure that they also have sort of time to like kind of stop and smell roses and just like enjoy the process. Because if you don't enjoy the process and you just like rushing to the finish line, then you're not really sort of gonna like maybe like make memories or like, even really like it sometimes. I think it's important to have like the destination, but you need to enjoy like the way you get there. So maybe just like make sure the girls do that, and make sure that they have fun, but they also like are productive.
Oh, I guess I have a kind of it just popped in my head to have an add-on to that one. We were talking about setting goals and working through the badges. Do you feel that you would accomplish more during troop meeting breakout time as units, or did you benefit most heavily from meeting with your unit leaders outside of the normal troop meetings?
I think that it probably just depended on leaders, because like for Auntie Melody, when we would have unit meetings at HG, like sometimes we just like didn't do that much stuff, or just wasn't like there was nothing planned. Then a lot of times we just like kind of sat around and talked, which was fun in itself. But I think that the meetings themselves, like if there's things planned and if there's things set up, then I feel like productive and things like that. But then with Auntie Tracy, there's like always more badges to do. So I think like like I said before, like troop meetings are fun when there's like something to do, but it's not like too like jam-packed into like the whole hour and 30 minutes. So yeah, I think it just depends on what you have planned, and sort of like you have to like think of like what they can actually accomplish in that time.
So as pioneers and patriots, do you think that having additional meeting time with your units in addition to troop meetings is beneficial to try and accomplish badge work? So if you're working on a unit badge as pioneers and you can't accomplish everything in your 45 minutes that you have at your unit breakout, is that something that you think would be beneficial to then schedule in additional meetings?
Yeah, I think that's definitely beneficial. I think a lot of times too, because the Pioneer Patriot badges, they're a lot more intense. Like a lot of times there'll be requirements, and these like the required requirements, where you need to have sort of someone come in and talk to your unit and like give advice maybe on their career or things like that, or you need to like go on an excursion to sort of like a photography, like a museum, or like just different types of things like that. So it's almost like required that you have like these extra sort of meetings. So I feel like for Pioneer Patriots, definitely there needs to be because just the intensity of the badges, it's like either you have to trust the girls like to do it by themselves and just put all this pressure on them, or you should just like kind of have more like sort of opportunities for like to help them out. And so yeah, definitely for those the older, the harder requirements, definitely need more work and more time.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A few minutes. Thank you. Oh, cool.
Hey Danielle, give us your insight. What's your name, Danielle?
Danielle. Long.
What's your favorite color?
Yellow.
Love?
Yellow. She just asked what my favorite color is.
What's your middle name?
Nicole.
When's the last time you cried?
Months ago.
About a week ago.
I don't even know.
Can you elaborate?
I think I got in trouble. I was just emotional. That's why I cried.
How many kids do you want to have?
47. Maybe 4.
How do you feel about staying pure until you're married?
I'm cool with it.
Are you gonna do it?
I'm gonna try to do it.
She'll try her best.
Good answer, good answer.